Hey, Hans from Request for Music here, and this time I want to look at harmonics' capabilities to function as sort of a DX7. Monophonic, obviously, but how would you approach such a thing? Well, normally standard, the harmonic ratio between all of the harmonics is at harmonic, which means that you have frequency doubling and all that kind of stuff. But since I've built in the unison mode, which affects all of the base frequencies of all the harmonics in there, or all the oscillators in there, you've got 64 of them, you could actually create sort of a DX7 kind of way of work. That means that besides doing the unison mode for everything, I need to make sure that all of the frequencies are flat, so I have all of the volumes at the same level, and then I can actually go in here and create something. Let's say that this would be a carrier, and I would want two modulators. I could do something like this, and if I wanted to have a different sort of thing where I would have parallel streams, I would just create a next set where number 0 and number 16 would be the carriers, and 1 and 2 would be modulators. 2 would be modulating 1, 1 would be modulating 0, and the same for the other ones. So if I would do something like this, it would mean that my then now I have all of these harmonics or oscillators available and visible, and that would mean that only the bottom ones, and this would be the bottom then. So think of it as a diagram for DX7 90 degrees rotated. So this would be the bottom one, and this would be the first modulator, and that would be the second modulator, and this would be a carrier and a first and a second modulator. So that would mean that the ones on top of this would not I would not want them to deliver sound, so I would mute them. So I would do the same for number 17 and 18. And then if I look at the first stream first, let's switch number 16 off so I don't have the second line, so to speak. I would take number 0, and I'll give it full range of the Attack Decay Stain Release, and this one, number 1, which is going into 0, needs to phase modulate that. So I'm going to take number 1 as the source being the envelope out, so I change the phase based on the envelope of number 1, and I'm going to target number 0, and I'm going to target the phase there. So I'm going to add this. So that means that if I dial this up, I get this phase modulated sort of bass sound. And the second one, and I do even have to go into this part really, because that is going to change the settings per harmonic, but I'm only looking at the root list here, where I'm going to say that my number 2 harmonic, the envelope out again, is going into number 1 into the phase again. So I'm just going to add that one. So now I've got the second changing that modulation of the first one. And then what I can do obviously is changing the frequency. So let's say that I keep number 0 at a 1 frequency, which is this setting says course is number 1, and let's say that I want my second one to be 2, for instance, and the next one to be on 4, something like this. So now it depends on the setting for the depth, what kind of sound you have, and especially the decay and release. So if I set something like this, and for number 2, which is the highest one, and number 1, something like this, And of course I need to take the proper routing to change that. Something like this. And of course I can do the same kind of thing for the other line now. So let's switch number 0 off. Unmute that so I don't have any sound at the moment, but then I go into number 16, which is the carrier of the second line. Have just this sine wave here at the moment, so I'll need to make sure that I have an extra line for number 17 going into number 16. So with this one selected, I need to have the same kind of thing, but now instead for number 17 going into number 16 as a phase, and just add that. Something like this, and dial this up. And number 18 going into 17, so number 18 going into 17. Add this to it. And then dial a bit with the to the decay, sustain, release, etc. And maybe change this to a much higher frequency, maybe 16 or something. Something like this, and change the depth of that. And maybe something like this. And let's put 16, because 16 was the carrier. Let's put that to the right and switch number 0 on again. Oops, mute, and pan that to the left. Something like this. Let's dial it a bit back because it's something like that. So, and then of course I could add some reverb and some delay to make it more interesting as a sound. So, just the first test to see how it would work with DX7 sort of way of working. So that was a fast one, and I'll get back in a later stage where I try to recreate some DX7 sounds. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in a new one. Cheers, bye bye.